Hello, lovely 3D animation students. So today is going to be Lab 2.03. You can get there through the plan, or you can get there through the content, whatever works best for you. In this lab, you'll add the 3 keyframes for the bouncing ball animation and preview the animation to see how it looks. Goals: create keyframes from the start, end, and bounce points of the animation and preview the animation. Open your project. All right, so I've got Blender right on my desktop. Just gonna double click there and open it up. Perfect. And then click outside of that box. You can right click and hit X and then delete. Then file, and you can go to open recent, and there it is, your first and last name, your lab 1, your bouncing ball version 2. Let's open that puppy right up. There we go. There's where we left off. Animation review. An animation is a movie created by displaying a set of still images called frames so quickly that they appear to move. For example, a cartoon is a popular type of animation. When you create a Blender animation, you first move 3D models to where important things happen and then set markers called keyframes. Blender fills in the gaps between keyframes to make a smooth-looking animation. The animation screen. The animation screen is a preset collection of Blender windows that are useful when putting together a 3D animation. You can switch between the animation and modeling screens at any time without disrupting what you're working on. And in the actual Blender manual, they call these areas. Click the buttons to highlight the different parts of the animation screen. And we've kind of gone over these different areas in our overview of the Blender interface. The timeline window. The timeline window lets you quickly go to a specific frame in your animation. Left-clicking a frame in the timeline will take you directly to that frame in the animation and display the frame in the 3D view window. The light green vertical line shows where you are in the timeline. Keyframes are marked with yellow vertical lines. Keyframes will only appear when an object with keyframes is selected. Question: what does the light green line in the timeline tell you? Where you're at in the timeline. Good. The correct answer is D. Next, we're going to change the number of frames. Okay. So up here is one of those areas that we were talking about. And if you just hover your cursor over this drop-down menu, it will tell you that this current editor type for this area is Info. So this is the Info Editor menu bar, okay? We're going to come over here where it says Default, and it says Choose Your Screen Layout. So we're going to choose Animation. So go ahead and click Animation now. And it changes things quite dramatically. Now we're going to go down to the bottom where we have our timeline editor, okay? And we're going to make sure that the start says 1. If it doesn't, you can type it in there. And we're going to put the end at 30 and hit enter. Keyframe types. Location, rotation, and scale are 3 keyframe types that you can use to capture an object in 3D space. Location adds a keyframe to capture an object's location on the X, Y, and Z axes. Rotation adds a keyframe to capture an object's rotation. Scale adds a keyframe to capture an object's size. Let's create the starting keyframe. Okay, so I can't see my sphere or my ball, so I'm going to turn it around and we're going to select the lattice, okay? Remember, you have to right click to select it. And then I want you to hit the number 3 on your right keypad because we're going to put it into the right side view, okay? Okay, so this is going to be our first keyframe. We're going to hit 1 there. This is the current keyframe, so the current frame that we're in, we're just going to hit the 1 there. And then we need to open up your properties panel over here and just confirm that your Y is -10 and your Z is 10. It should already be like that because we did that in the last sections, right? So that's just make sure all of that is set up right. Okay, now we're going to click the I key. I. So I. This I key, well, the I shortcut is for insert keyframe, okay? And we're going to click on location to insert a keyframe at this precise location. Good job. Okay, now we are going to, okay, so do you remember what the end was? The end was 30, right? So we're going to go ahead and set this current frame to 30 because we're going to just put the end keyframe. So we have a keyframe at 1 and a keyframe at 30, okay? And we're going to just make it so that our sphere moves 10 to the right of the Z axis, okay? So you can see the axes here, okay? So the Z axis from this view is up and down, and the Y axis is the horizontal axis left and right, okay? And so right now it's at -10. So let's say that this line right here represents the Z axis. Well, it's 10 to the left of the Z axis. We're going to have it go 10 to the right. So to do that, we're going to set this at 10, okay? All right. Did you see how it moved over? Okay, so we're at the ending keyframe, which is 30 here, and we're going to hit what to insert a keyframe here? We're going to hit the letter I. And once again, you're going to click location to set that location keyframe, okay? Okay, so we have a keyframe for when it starts up here, and we have a keyframe for when it ends over here. But we want to make this ball bounce, so we're going to go here and set your current keyframe to 10. Okay, so we're at 10, and we're going to just set the Y value to 0, and we're going to set the Z value to 0. And look what that does. That brings our sphere right down to the ground, and we can just visualize how that's going to go. What do we have to hit to set the keyframe to insert it? The letter I, and then click on location to set that keyframe location. I'm getting excited. I can't wait to see this. Blender's curves. When you insert keyframes, Blender tries to fill in the gaps in the keyframes with a smooth animation curve. Depending on what you're animating, the fill-in animation curves don't always look right at first. You'll preview the animation on the next page to see how it looks. In the next lab, you'll adjust the curves to make the animation look more realistic. But first, let's preview our animation. So if we come down here, you'll notice that we have the play animation. The shortcut is Alt-A if you want to hit Alt-A, or you can just click to play it. Lovely. And to pause it, you can just either click pause or escape. But wouldn't it be cool to hold down your middle mouse button and scroll around and see how this animation looks from different angles? That's pretty fun. Excellent. And then just go ahead and hit the number 3 on your number pad to bring it back to the side view and pause it. All right, so let's save this. File, Save As, and you're just going to change that to read version 3. And you can hit enter twice, or you can, when you save, just click save as Blender file. Either way works. Good.